A lot of people will see us shoot up something a couple times and then just assume that that's all that we do.
We held up Joey and convinced him to shoot Danny. Joey almost played us because he had rubber rounds in his gun and we thought Danny was actually dead. Honestly, even in game we always like kind of bounce ideas off each other, which is kind of, it works sometimes, it doesn't. In character, me and Harvey pushed her down some stairs.
Why does everyone fall downstairs and damn?
It's just easy. Yeah. Snap their necks, slip down some cheeseburger grease, like we just make it up.
On this episode, I talked to CJ and Chef, members of DayZ Underground's most notorious faction, Dark as Midnight. All right, I'll ask my first question since CJ already started talking about it. But so yesterday, I think it was on Poopy's stream, I watched an interaction with you guys and clearly a new member to Doug, and he was like something to the extent, I'll paraphrase it, but it was basically, hey, how's it going, guys? I know who you are. Can you just kill me? What goes through your head when that happens? Because I felt bad. I was like, that sucks. Because now how do you figure out what to do with that guy in that moment? I'm sure that happens to you guys a lot.
The initial reaction is just to be like, all right, well, I'm just gonna kill you then. But when I hear him say, I know who you guys are, it makes me wonder, do you know word of mouth? Do you know outside of the game? Have you actually dealt with us before, So I think even with people like that, we try and give them something a little bit. I'm not gonna put in my full effort for them though. No.
Yeah, I think we still give them a couple of chances to try to change their answer from just kill us. Sometimes you do get the people that, that's the only sentence they could say is just kill me. Sometimes it's a little discouraging to fully try when that's the first thing you hear.
I've never had that happen to me, so I don't know what it's like to deal with in game, but I feel like that's very frustrating to be like, oh cool, somebody we don't know that we can fuck with, and then they just don't play along at all.
Yeah, when he was lying there on the fire burning, he was just like, wow, you guys are great, you really exceed your reputation or whatever he said. I was just like, okay, well,
yeah, this is
boring. Yeah,
I saw it yesterday and I was like, oh man, that's never fucking happened to me. But it happens to you guys quite a bit.
A lot, especially now with a lot of the new players. It happens a lot.
Yeah, cause that's probably the worst part about it is I think they were in Berezino. We had no intention of most likely killing him, we were just there to maybe mess with him for a couple minutes and then just let him go.
Well, I will move on to the community questions. First one is from Highlander from Forsaken Loyalists. As a member of an evil group myself, we are often subject to harsher criticism for our actions. As a long-standing group, mainly for the newer players, how is this something you can avoid? If unavoidable, best mentality so you don't feel burnt out from supposed wrongdoing.
I think the best way that we deal with this is we communicate a lot of what we're doing, whether it's a small shooting up a certain town or group or anything like that, so we don't go overboard. A lot of people will see us shoot up something a couple times and then just assume that that's all that we do. So we really communicate that we're not overdoing that too hard. We try and have open communication, out of character with groups if they are fine with that. We don't usually contact first unless we think that we went a little hard too quick.
Because we actually had to make a raid shoot channel in our Discord to actually make sure everyone was on track, so we didn't have to get hit with the consequences, or just it made it a lot easier to avoid going overboard and stuff like that.
We'll go on to Wisp from the Coalition. More of a general RP related question, but I'm especially curious for Dam. What's your way of staying authentic to your character? Is there a certain mindset or background you try to adhere to, and how does Dam the group factor into that mindset?
I think a lot of times when we're in game or we're relaying something to our group members, we try and think a lot how does my character know that? How do I know this information? Did it come legit? Did it come through game? Am I not mixing anything up? I also think being in a chaotic group allows for room to be more unhinged and do our own thing if we want to.
One thing that helps is honestly, we even in game we always kind of bounce ideas off each other, which is kind of, it works sometimes, sometimes it doesn't, because we're just bouncing super chaotic ideas of things we should do or what we should do for the group, and that does help a lot.
Who's the most grounded of the group that kind of brings you guys back to reality and is all right, maybe not? Or is there anyone?
I think it's me.
CJ,
I think it's me, and I also think Doink is very good about it as well.
It kind of goes from person to person. It depends on who came up with the idea. I could say Clyde is definitely one of them, but then again, Clyde will also just have some off the wall idea. It bounces honestly from day to day.
Depends who's around.
We have all had awful ideas.
Is there anyone to stop something? Then it'll happen, but it just depends who's around. Yeah,
I would have thought it would be Doc, just coming from the admin side of stuff.
Oh, no.
All right,
I mean, maybe maybe at a point, yes, he might have had some opinions on things that we would like be planning to do. But he never like he wasn't very he'd be like, yeah, that's cool. Like, go do that, and then we would work it out from there.
So collaborative effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe Trojan asks, what happened to Draven and Iris? I think you like discussed like whether this was in character or out of character. If you want to touch on both, or however you guys want to answer it.
As far as I know, out of character, they both just stopped playing. I wasn't around with Draven. Chef might have been. I don't remember.
Yeah, I was around when Draven died. So he died in character.
Mm-hmm.
And then he kind of just, after that, he stopped playing. Iris just stopped playing one day. And that kind of ended that. And that's when Harvey kind of really came in.
So in character, Draven died. I know he got set up by Dam, and he didn't know, which is hilarious. And that's the way it should be. And then Iris, she just stopped.
In character, me and Harvey pushed her down some stairs.
Why does everyone fall downstairs and Dam?
It's just easy. Yeah. Snap their neck, slip down some cheeseburger grease. Like, we just make it up.
Harvey's question in character is that too much cheeseburgers, and he just died.
Yeah, you explained that to the caveman the first time I ran into you on I don't know if you remember that.
Yep, he had a cardiac arrest.
Father Abraham asks, what advice do you have for role players who are used to more good, neutral centric characters who want to explore their dark side in RP? So somebody coming from the good side and kind of wants to go a little chaotic.
I say go for it, explore it. Remember at the end of the day that it is just a game, and you do have to consider other people's fun too. Being evil isn't just shooting people. Like, you do have to get a little creative with it and not be afraid to probably get killed when you're seen, because that happens quite a lot.
Even though sometimes it can be a little discouraging from being the bad guy, I think we have a lot more positive interactions than we do bad ones. Even having a couple bad ones as like the evil bad guys, there's still a lot of good ones that are make it a lot of fun.
I've recently started playing like kind of a gray area character, and it's relaxing to kind of just not have to worry about what my character does.
Right.
Like, I can get a little evil or like kill somebody if I need to, like just on a whim. Like, and it's been fun, but it's also been very difficult, because then when you do that, people start to judge you a little bit differently.
There's consequences, as there should be.
Harry says, what makes you guys so friendly to me? I've always wondered why you people have been some of the nicest I've met, but some of the evilest in reputation. Even despite me being a venerable target for murder or robbery, as I'm always alone and traveling, you've always been kind to me. I've had the same experience on that with you guys. Not nice, but always like very, just not as aggressive as I would think. But you've always caught me alone, and I've never had a lot on. I think that has to play into it.
I think the big thing is,
no, go ahead.
I think that we're a lot more friendly, and especially towards like solos. If we find someone by themselves, we try to give them a little more interaction and not give them too much of a hard time, because being solo is really rough on the server. All these other factions and big groups, and running solo can be hard. So I think we tend to go a little easier on solos and just more worry about an interaction than just taking everything they have, killing.
I agree. And a lot of times solos, especially if we can tell that they're new, we're going to be really gentle with them. Like, we'll give them like some shit, but we're not going to give them the full, like, make them want to be like, oh, just kill me, because we don't want to do that to them, because then they'll never want to interact with us. Also, solos, I think as a group, we view them as if we're nicer to them. I think solos offer a lot of value in terms of things that could happen in game.
Because we actually do a lot of the solos we run into, we use a lot of solos for many things, because obviously most groups don't like to talk to us about certain things or talk to us at all. So that's where solos really come in handy.
What is one of the more memorable interactions with a group, as well as like a memorable solo or duo interaction that you guys have had that sticks in your head?
This one was kind of hard for me to think of, because I feel like it's so many. I think some of my favorite ones for me personally that I was around for was when Vigil was really running a lot of stories on the server for a time, and them actually coming to Gorka and talking to us and, making up all these lies and stuff. It was so fucking funny, but it was so much fun to be able to like interact with what's supposed to be a good guy group. And they walked out, they didn't die. There was still war going on, but that's one of my favorite memories is having them come in and explain the raid tools that they were holding for 506 as garden supplies. And that was really fun.
I think one of my favorite ones was definitely the cheeseburger incident with Torchwood. That was one of my favorite ones. Another not recent, that was still a while ago, was we call it the Great Escape up at the dugout. We held up Joey and convinced him to shoot Danny. Joey almost played us because he had rubber rounds in his gun, and we thought Danny was actually dead. He was actually unconscious. As we finished off Danny, we moved up to the dugout, and we had a bunch, I think it was Herc. We had Herc up there screaming at us, how could we do that to Danny? And we stole some stuff from her curtain. As we were running out, I think we had everyone, it almost felt like everyone from Odyssey shooting at us as we all escaped. I think it ended up with all of us going unconscious at about the same time, but we all somehow still ran away and made it out of there. None of us dying.
Greeny asks, since I've been playing on Doug, I've always heard red is dead as a prominent mindset that players have on Doug when dealing with Dam. How have you all as a group been able to overcome that mindset when seeking out interactions, especially when dealing with good guy groups? And in your opinion, what can the good guys do better in order to stay true to their characters, but also make room for RP? I guess address the red is dead mindset first, and then what can good guy groups do to make it a little more fun?
For me, I used to get annoyed when I used to hear people say red is dead because I was like, so you're just going to KOS me? Like, that's so stupid. But I kind of get it, right? Like, you should probably shoot dead the person that you think is potentially going to, like, eat you, you know? So it doesn't bother me the way it used to. I would say, unless we're actively, like, at war, like, shooting each other, I would rather people not just, like, pop us on sight, but I also don't hold anything against anybody who does that, because I get it. I think when it comes to dealing with good guy groups, like, seeking out interactions, I think Black Sheep is probably the absolute best example for this. They hold true to their core values, yet we can still get interactions with them without just shooting them dead. I had something in the last couple of years where we were talking to them about, you know, trading so-and-so, and I won't dig too deep into it, but they did a really good job of just being the good guys in that situation.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. Honestly, Black Sheep is really the best for it, because they really don't take any of our shit when it comes to us trying to manipulate them and stuff like that. They never really fold or buckle to us, which is nice to see out of a good guy group. And for the whole red is dead thing, it's something that it took a while to get used to, because I just had it like, you know, when most people see us, especially, you know, solos or new people, they see red and their first instinct is to run away. If they're not shooting us, they're most likely, if we both turn the corner and see each other, they are running away as fast as they can.
Say the Overlook or something. How could we approach you guys better or differently in your eyes to make the interaction worthwhile?
I think the main thing is like holding yourself, kind of you and your group, like its core values. We've had times where we'll run into a good guy and they will immediately kind of buckle and fold and do as we say. And I think we like a lot of like pushback sometimes against good guy groups, instead of them just immediately saying, okay, we're just going to do whatever you say, essentially. Some resistance, I think, is kind of good, and it makes it a little more interesting.
So you guys appreciate when people don't just be like, oh, no, you can have whatever you want?
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people in the group agree. Like, we'd rather work for it or, you know, get creative with how we're going to get to what we want.
British Paul says, how do you treat differently, say, a random solo you encounter versus an established armband wearing group? I get the feeling that a lot of group players' impression of you is based solely on their group's encounters with you and not accurate of your group in general.
I would agree with that. I think we do go a little harsher on groups. Again, I think that also is kind of similar to the other question before. We are more gentle and easier on solos. Typically, if you're in a group or faction and you have some sort of like hostility with us, you're probably not going to really like interacting with us sometimes, but you will definitely get a little bit of a different interaction as a solo.
Yeah, I think one good example of this is just the other day when me and Poopy were up at Fairgrad on the quarry and we found a firefly. We put him to the edge of the quarry, gave him a couple options and a way he could live, and if we didn't like the answer, we were just going to push him off the cliff. That's something we probably wouldn't do to a solo, just because it's a little more harsh. And so I guess with group, especially with the fireflies, we try to put a little more pressure on them to, I guess, with the RP that we have in mind. I guess we just hold, groups to a little bit of a higher standard when they interact with us.
As far as I know, like, I don't think we've had any issues with them. I won't name drop, but we have had it before in the past. We found somebody outside, you know, in a town or wherever. They're so nice to us and they're doing whatever we say, blah, blah, blah. They get behind their walls and they're 110% completely different.
Talking shit, yeah.
It's awful. It's like, I don't know. It's just so boring. And I think we respect a lot better if you're just...
Talk shit out loud, out in public.
Exactly. Or be like, you know what? I'm a good person. Like, I can't do this. I'm not going to listen to you guys. Chances are you're probably not going to get shot in the face. We might fuck with you or harm you or something, but you're not going to just die most of the time.
Yeah, at least have the decency to give shit back. Like,
exactly.
Conan the Librarian says, what should a newer player to Doug, who maybe only knows you by your reputation, say that guy that you guys met the other day, what should they know about you the first time that they meet you in game? Like, what mindset should they go into that interaction with? What would you prefer that they go into, obviously?
I would prefer them to maybe be like, act a little intimidated, but not necessarily sit there and be like, oh, I already know what you guys are going to do to me, or, you know, let it play out. Like, we might give you shit or we might break your leg. Just depends. You know, it depends who's around, what mood mood we're in, like what you're saying.
Yeah, because it can really vary on how the first interaction goes. Because sometimes either we tell you how awful we are, or we gaslight people into thinking we're the good guys, and how awful the Odyssey and Black Sheep are, and how mean the Overlook is, and stuff like that.
Like you did when you met me.
Exactly. So it definitely goes both ways. Of like, you could either think we're the best people in the world, or we're really awful.
So Doc of the Merrymen / Sarge, how or who came up with the origination of the War Boy and the red helmets for them? So who was the idea man behind that, or woman?
So Hex and Other Dam wore it first, I believe. And then Hex, I believe, wore it mainly. Joe's old character Hades, I believe, wore it for quite a while. Then after nobody was wearing it, and it became like a war boy outfit, sort of.
You need me to take a minute so you can answer all those texts?
Please, I am trying to ignore, so it's fine. But yeah, it just became war boy uniform. Like, and there, I think one or two of one member right now actually wears it as their PID. I think so. I think Dash does.
Yeah, and it kind of became really big, especially when Charlie came into Damon after he was a war boy. He just left the helmet on for years after that.
I know sometimes like you guys will like be war boys just to kind of take a break from being CJ or Chef or whatever. Does that let you blow off some steam and like kind of just relax for the night, or do you guys use it as like a way to just like hang out?
I guess both. It just that's the thing with Doug, is you don't know if you're gonna end up in a situation where you're gonna be running in headfirst into somebody's base, or you're just like kind of walking around. You want to sit back in an interaction. You don't feel like speaking too much. My favorite thing about being a war boy is you're given a fucking shotgun and a stabby and told to go like run in somewhere and make a play. Like, to me, that's the most exciting part.
Yeah, I definitely like it in the fact of like, especially if there's a day where you don't want to like lead an interaction or really talk, it's nice to, if you're playing the war boy, because to kind of during an interaction you're just in the background goofing off, doing something dumb, kind of being silly, is a nice little break sometimes.
That being said, we do encourage war boys to actually like do something in interaction. Many people think that they just can't speak at all, but that's not the truth. Sometimes we're like, okay, like, we'll be in comms, we're gonna say, okay, you take the lead on this one, like we want to see what you can do.
Did you guys used to use that for like recruitment? Like that, was that like the newer members, and now you kind of do the War Boy Wednesday thing where you invite other community members in?
Yes, like our most recent members, Darren and Dash, we want something to move up to full members. We said we would take them out on runs and have them lead interactions and see how they're doing. War Boy Wednesday, it can lead to somebody joining. However, that's not the intent of War Boy Wednesday. It's just to get to know different community members and having fun, letting them do a different play style for a day.
Mayor Croutons asks, why are war boys the best, and who was the best war boy? I guess that's a personal like opinion question. Who do you guys think was the best war boy, or the best war boy that you guys have had run with you?
Personally, like I thought me and Fred were the best war boys. We had so much fun together, but that's just me being biased. I don't know. If I were to not say Fred, because I know he wants me to say Fred, it's hard to say. Some are more excited to get out there and like they don't care if they die. We've definitely had war boys that are like, I don't know about doing that. Like, but we need you to do that. I don't know who I would say the best war boy was.
Fred was, I want to say he's up there. The lone fact of that he used to make gifts for us. He would grab a mountain bag and make little stuffed animals out of human meat in like the shape in the backpack.
Yeah,
that was
the leather
funny.
kits.
Yeah,
Spud.
If not him, it was definitely me. It definitely wasn't Buck.
Buck does make a good point. Fred would. I didn't fish for shit, but Fred would go fishing all the time.
Honestly, yeah, that was the best quality of war boys. If we would get on for the day and there was food for us, then they were the best war boy for the day.
Oz wants to know your thoughts on the potential cannibal rework being voted on soon, which it passed.
Woohoo!
Needing to continue eating human meat, keep Kuru symptoms down, and vice versa. If that is implemented, how do you think it'll affect you guys, and like, what are your thoughts on that? And do you think it's going to be a good change, bad change?
I think we think it's a good change. Kuru needed something changed about it. It just is not fun to play at all. This makes it a little bit more enticing to keep eating human meat, not just taking a nibble of human meat and then getting Kuru and doing whatever with it. This kind of gives you a reason to keep eating human meat.
I'm definitely excited for it because I think since we've came back, I've been like on and off being a cannibal. Like, I've been trying to do it, but then it comes down to how awful. It comes back to, since everything is red is dead. We shoot a lot, and it makes me feel like I am probably the worst damn member when I'm using Kuru, just because how much it affects you and how bad it really is at the end of the day.
I know there was a lot of like talk in the community when it was first talked about. I forget what the actual argument was, but they were saying like basically it's just gonna become everybody killing each other and trying to eat the other person. Do you see that being a problem with like too many people becoming cannibals and like that just like ruining the server? Because I know that was a concern for people.
I've definitely thought about it. I've thought about that. I definitely think there will probably be a lot more cannibals. I hope it's not where everyone thinks it's, oh, let's just do this now just because it makes things a little easier. I don't think I'm too worried about it. I wish maybe it's nice that there's positive changes for the crew thing, but maybe even having another negative effect that's not too detrimental would be kind of nice for it. Just so it's not so everyone thinks, oh, everyone should do it now.
Yeah, we own the mod now, so it can be adjusted as needed. So that could be like something that comes up down the road with after like some trial and error.
I guess it also comes back to the question of like, when you like question of people staying true to their characters. Is this something your character would actually do? Then as long as it makes sense for your character.
Do you see like a lot of people making like cannibal alts and just run around with a laugh?
Yeah, I think that'll probably be a big one. Is a lot of people trying it out on their alts just to try it out.
I think they'll experience that twitch and they'll hate it, to be honest. It takes a lot of patience with the twitching.
If the rework goes through, you can suppress the twitch.
Yeah, that'll be good. I just hope that people aren't going to just like mindlessly go to the coast and start killing like freshies because they need to supply themselves.
Yeah, I think the idea is to make it so it's not worth it to do that. But like you would still have to like eat every once in a while to suppress. Greatest story which Dam was involved with. Obviously another opinion question, but what do you guys think is the greatest overall story that Dam as a group has been involved with?
I really do feel like a lot came out of the baby story, that had some character development for Jez, who stole the baby and ran away with it, and then the baby went from A to B to C to D to back to A, like it just went everywhere. And that got multiple groups involved and kind of played out for a while. I'm glad that story is dead though now, but
Yeah.
it affected multiple groups that are not around anymore, but groups that got really involved with it that we probably would not have really had any interactions with outside this story unless something else came up. But I don't think that would have happened, to be honest.
I'm gonna go for the same thing for the story because, like she said, I think that's a story that I felt like almost every faction had a little hand in it. From obviously Black Sheep to the Rangers to Black Ross. Even remember having them come check up on the baby, and Blue would come down and roleplay that. I thought it was a nice story for the fact that for the sheer number of people that actually were able to get involved and effective.
Yeah, I feel like that's the goal of a good story, is to get as many different people involved in it as possible, and that's when it becomes something that's kind of memorable. There's a lot of stories happening right now that I don't know about because they're very closed off from the rest of the server, kind of.
Yeah.
And I think if people just like tried to get more people or groups involved and let it spread throughout the map, I think it would be it makes every story better. People are talking about it in the West and people are talking about it down South, and that's when it becomes like one of the ones that people don't forget.
Yeah, we're working on one right now that I hope we can actually like get something rolling with it, get a lot of people involved.
What are the main sources of inspiration behind playing an evil character when it comes to creating new and unique evil ideas, keep interactions and stories fresh? What inspires you guys to kind of get some ideas to screw with people, basically?
I think it's reactions out of people. I love when somebody DMs me and they're like, holy shit, I was like shitting myself the entire time, or you guys really scared me, or stuff like it just is so much fun. Like definitely like I have a more like aggressive like and mean play style. So when I do that and somebody enjoys it, that's kind of what keeps it going for me.
I would say definitely the shout out channel as of recent has helped a lot, just helping us out and keeping things fresh and staying motivated to keep doing what we're doing, especially when we take even a small like little interaction that maybe sometimes maybe it's normal for us, we're kind of just doing what we do normally with every little interaction, but especially when it's super meaningful to someone else that we I guess gave them the time of day and gave them a nice interaction, especially when they tell us like how awesome it was. And especially like we had one like last night at like 2 a.m. in the morning, just finding someone randomly and then them saying that how great of an experience it was to finally meet us. It's always a good feeling.
I think playing off of other members' interactions also, like it can change your own personal direction, and that's what keeps it going a lot. Being impulsive, I think, is something really keeps us creating new and unique evil ideas.
Off of that, like you said, being impulsive. So if somebody in the group makes like a knee-jerk reaction to something and it like spirals out of control, do you guys like that or not?
Does it spiral out of control in game, or like we're getting shit for it out of
no, out of character. Yeah, obviously if you're getting shit for it out of character, it's probably not a good time. Like one of your guys makes kill somebody that you weren't planning on killing that day or something, or it's a bunch of other bullshit that you got to deal with that day. Do you like that chaos that comes from that, that, or are you guys sometimes like, all right, that's enough, like let's not do that?
Oh no, we love that.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes it depends. Like if somebody, I don't know, it's hard. I think for the most part we like that, but there are times when like you were hoping to go a certain direction with somebody, and somebody else decided to break their leg, and now it's all fucked up. I mean, it is what it is. It's all about being organic, right? So we do welcome it more than anything. I think that's what truly creates like a chaotic group. Is not everything is planned, not everything is supposed to happen how you thought it was going to.
Yeah, a lot of things we do is just random spontaneous that someone just thought of on the spot. And I think we do a pretty good job of like working or just kind of working off each other, especially when someone does something so random and unexpected. I think we do try our best, just work with it and run with it and not really question it on the spot. The moment we start questioning it, it kind of makes things weird in character. And we usually don't like to do that in front of people. Whoever's leading the interaction, and if something goes south, we kind of all just roll with it, and it works out pretty well usually.
Like Doink just brought up, he said Saint Doinks and shooting Enclave. Like I think that really put it, like, you know, Dam and Enclave were hand in hand a lot during the East versus West war, and that was so like when it happened we were like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, are you stupid? Like, why did you do that? But at the same time, like, it changed the dynamic of our groups in character, and I think it honestly made things more interesting and more fun, and everybody stopped getting steamrolled by two big groups. So
Is there a difference in the way Dam approaches their relationship with other evil groups compared to good groups? So how do you guys deal with in character with evil guys compared to good people?
I think there's more hesitation there are some good guy groups where we do just kind of go ahead and shoot them. Depending on like the current situation with them, we do hesitate a lot more when it comes to good guy groups, because we don't typically, if somebody's in a good guy group, they're probably playing because they have a passive playstyle and we're not trying to ruin things for them. However, if we find you in a bad guy group, I'm not saying that you like to get KOS all the time, but like you're probably a lot more willing to get in fights and die than other groups. So we approach differently for both kinds of groups. I think
Yeah,
we're a lot
we're
more
definitely-
aggressive with evil groups,
Yes.
whether we really know them or not.
And I think for even like an RP standpoint, I think good guy groups, we're always trying to slowly kind of corrupt them and make them do what we want. But when it comes to bad guy groups, like RPing with them, it's more of like using them. And we try to do that a lot more for other bad guy groups. It's like, how can we use them to benefit us?
I'd rather corrupt and manipulate a good guy group than team up with another bad guy group.
Is it more fun for you to fight a good guy group, or is it more fun for you to fight a bad guy group, just PvP and having fun?
Bad guy group for me personally, just because I think that when
They're
a bad
better.
guy group, yeah, you know, like it's the difference
No,
between
that's
fighting,
fair,
like,
yeah.
you know, people in a good guy group are probably not PvPers, and that's fine. Although some surprise you. Some good guy groups have some nasty fucking
happens,
shooters. Yeah, like Black Sheep. But
Yeah.
it is a lot more fun to fight bad guy groups because they're more willing to get on your level with you, you know?
Yeah. Do you like the shit talk, or do you prefer
We love
Yeah.
the shit talk.
I
We
wish-
love it.
I wish people would talk shit more to us.
in a fight?
Yeah, forget it's Doug
I-
for a moment. Just play
Yeah,
dates. Like, just
yeah,
talk shit.
just
Like,
talk
yeah.
shit. Yep.
I've been trying. I think I've been trying my best at this. But anytime we get into a fight, I turn my mic on 3 for as loud as possible, and I will try my best to constantly talk shit throughout the fight.
It is disappointing when we don't get that back.
This is from Gary. How many cheeseburgers did Harvey actually consume before dying?
Well, enough to die. Is the
Yeah,
real
it's
answer.
unknown.
We're not sure.
I think
The
he
limit
kept some
doesn't
war
exist.
boys to himself to just provide cheeseburgers.
Provider War Boys.
Yeah.
The reason why Dame never had food when he was around.
He's not even here to defend himself because he's dead.
We love Harvey. We wish Harvey would
I've
come
been
back and hang
Trying
out
to
with
get
us.
him to
but
come back, but he doesn't
I
like
know.
me. What is the key to longevity in a group like Dam that's been around on Doug for the majority of Doug's life?
The people in the group. I think that most of us really like each other. That helps. There's definitely a certain group of people that have bonded very closely together, and I think that's what keeps us in the group. Even if we're not necessarily playing Doug, we'll always come back to play Doug to play with each other. And also, I think Dam in itself just adheres to a lot of our play styles.
I know a big thing for me is when we all kind of left. Just thinking about that, there was no Dam on Doug. I was like, there's really no bad guy group. It felt like at some point, and I was like, man, I wish that was still us. And it kind of made me want to come back. And then hearing about Blackthorn Gang was like the soul. It felt like the bad guy group on the server, and that was like kind of motivating to get back, like, you know, get on their level and try to do our best, compete with them at the beginning. So that was definitely motivating.
Yeah, I will say that like something that I think helped for me personally to keep playing is like almost every other day, you know, in Discord, somebody was like, oh, I miss Dan. I miss Dan. I wish Dan would come. And I was like, okay, like something's missing here. So I think that helped us like revive the group a lot better too.
Yeah, and especially when we came back and our first, like, I felt like the first like 2 weeks of us being back, so many people are like, who are you? Who are you? And it was like, oh my God.
You're like,
what
let
have
me
we
show
done?
you.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we have to stay now.
Yeah, it felt weird because that wipe that we really disappeared, we were still there was like 2 or 3 of us still playing. We were close to Gorka, but we weren't in Gorka, and it just did not feel right the entire time. We still kept an eye on it though.
What is the story behind Dam and their distaste for pumpkins from British Paul?
I think Iris started for the distaste in pumpkins. I think at that time we really hated farming. We just refused to farm in pumpkins. Well, it was also because pumpkins are orange, and at that time anything orange we hated. So
blame
us
the
against
506.
yeah, essentially we were trying to blame something else in the 506 for ruining pumpkins.
I think
for
it
us.
was Torchwood mostly.
Yeah, a lot of groups
Yeah.
of orange.
Mm-hmm.
This one's from Charlie. He says, I know I'm a part of the group and all, but I've been gone for a little bit. So during Dark as Midnight's 10 years of being a faction / group, they've almost always had a leader. Hex, Joker, Draven, Iris, Harvey took on that role. Now, Dam doesn't appear to have a real clear leader. What do you think led to that change, and how has it impacted the group's dynamic and decision making?
I think we didn't really like sit there one day and be like, you know, we don't want a leader. Like it's always been kind of since Harvey took over, he always said like, I'm not an in-character leader, but he just became like the face of Dam. You know, he had been there for a while. People like knew him more. So he was considered a leader. But once he stopped playing, like we never like really put anybody up there to be a leader just because it allows so much more for people to have their own like personality come through in the group, I think. We've also had experiences before where we've actually multiple groups where we've gone up to a group and they can't do anything without their leader in game. And it's like, well, they might not be on for days and we're trying to get something going now. And a lot of things fell through because of that. And we don't want that for our group. It is so, and I'm sorry, I'll say this for example, I'm not talking shit, but this was a couple of years ago when Clowns had their faction item, their face paint. Marco, who was, I guess would have been considered the leader at the time, wasn't online. They always allowed, we were in good terms with the Clowns at the time, and they allowed Chef to get his face painted, you know, whenever he wanted, but they wouldn't do it without Marco being online. It's like, well, we're not going to come back every few hours to see if he's, you know, awake to get face painting. So that's just one of those things. We're like, we don't want that for our group. Like, we should be allowed to make decisions as individuals whenever we want.
I think it makes a lot of sense as like our chaotic group, like the way we kind of, you know, chaotic evil. Everyone really should be able to make their own decisions for the group, sometimes for the worse or for the better. It's really nice that way. Like I said before, even like someone is allowed to make their own decisions, and most of us will, I would say for the most part, will roll with it and help them whatever decision they make.
Dealing with that, with everyone kind of having a say, how do you like continue stories and stuff if everyone's just doing what they want? Or do you just like discuss it as a group, OOC, and then like move forward that way? Or
a little bit of both, but I think for the most part we do discuss a lot of stories out of character. We go from there, and if you want to be involved, you do. If you don't, like, it's no big deal. Like, it's not for everybody. It does make it a little tricky when it feels like there's multiple things going on because they all involve your group in some way, but we see what falls through and what doesn't fall through. It is a matter of other groups continuing a story as well.
So I lied. There's one more question from Mittens, and I would feel bad if I left it out because he's the nicest person, kind of. You've been on the server a long time. What was your favorite period on the server and why? And what was the worst time for the server and why?
I think the worst time on the server, and I think a lot of people can agree that East versus West was probably the worst time on the server. But for me personally, like that was some of the most fun I've had on the server. Because it was just a constant like faction warfare going on back and forth.
I think it was fun to play at those times, but for the server, it was absolutely awful.
Yeah, because if you were like some third party or some solo, like you were not having a good time. I think the most fun thing you can do in Doug is be new to Doug and not have a clue about what's going on. Really only learning about things in game. I think you rob yourself of so much if you are looking at streams or the Reddit, or not even the Reddit, just streams too much, videos, people talking in Discord, asking questions out of character. Like, I wish more people just played and see what happens to you in the server, because it's really rewarding at times.
I think my best was when I first joined Dam, because Dam's been the only group I've been a part of, and I joined kind of fairly quickly when I started Doug. Being a war boy and knowing nothing about any other group, and how kind of, you know, learning Dam as I went was a lot of fun. Super chaotic, and it was a lot of fun time, especially when Harvey became a war boy. We were war boys together, and that was just a really fun time.
So the server right now is in like a really, I think, healthy spot population wise, but there's also also like drawbacks to that. What do you guys think of the current state of the server, and where do you see it going in the future?
I like the current state of the server. I don't feel like there's as much out of character animosity as there used to be with players. Thank you for the mass permabans on some people. And I think it's just more, I think it's more fun. I think we catch a lot of people outside more. And one of our biggest issues, everyone was behind gates. Nobody was doing anything. They were all sitting around playing VR chat in their courtyards, and it was just so boring. There's still some of that going on today, I think, but it's not as bad as what it was.
Yeah, I think in that aspect, it's been I love how the server is right now. It's been a lot of fun, especially with all the new people that are around. It's fun. It's nice to constantly, like, at least once a day you run into someone who doesn't. This is their first time running into you, since there's so many new people, and it's nice to give them a nice little introduction. So it's nice seeing all the new people around. I hope with everything we've been doing, that's why I guess that's why one of the big things is, like, when we run into those solos that are new, is try to like give them a very a good experience that'll make them want to stay, and not make this like a one life, one and done, and never be seen again.
Mm-hmm.
You think that guy you burned on the fire the other day is gonna stay?
Well,
I hope so. I hope he does. I mean, he didn't seem upset. He just was.
He was really happy to meet you.
He was really happy to burn alive. So I think if he wants to keep experiencing that, he'll keep coming back.
Well, I thank you guys so much for doing this and spending the last hour talking in front of the peanut gallery.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Sorry it took 2 months.
No, I know. Every time we tried to plan it.
Come on back.
Get in here.
I just want
Don't say anything bannable.
No, I just want to ask a question. Who is the best damn member ever, and why is it me, a 3-time Dougie Award winner?
Can I kick him?
Hold on. There we go.
Perfect. That's exactly what would have happened in TS.
I'll put him in the hole.
That's where he belongs.